Singaporean guys like myself serve our country through national service or conscription in the armed forces, police or firefighting or ambulance services. But what if I showed you there was another way to serve the country in the greater romance FMV multiverse? Hello everyone, Rain here. Titan Digital Media and 4Divinity have made the first Singaporean romance FMV game, Island of Hearts, where players roleplay as an unnamed man who has just broken up with his girlfriend Victoria and with the help of his friends is magically transported to an island where you meet and try to explore love with various women who come with different sorts of emotional or love baggage. Being a Singaporean myself, I felt it would be worthwhile to do a review while seeing whether I can offer any potential local Singaporean quote-unquote insider views on a game made in my home country. Just to be clear, I did not receive a review code from the devs and paid for the game out of my own pocket. With that out of the way, let's get straight into it. First of all, the picture quality is very crisp, clear and consistent throughout the game, both for the first person camera shots and for various camera angles used for the transitions or establishing shots. It's great that the devs shot a lot of on-location footage in Thailand, whether it's on the beach, cafes or different parts of the villa, so it adds a nice variety of sets for the player to experience. Plus, it's a nice refreshing change from other games like My Robot Girlfriend that leans too heavily on unpolished AI generated backgrounds or videos. Unlike the visuals, the acting is more of a mixed bag with very noticeable disparities. Esports commentator Lysander Lim gives a very deadpan humor delivery in his performance as the unnamed protagonist. Sometimes it does work very well.
I should probably stop touching that.
Well, don't let me stand in the way of your self-discovery.
That is a cucumber. On a bed.
They can live without you.
Wow.
But the problem is that it's used for other contexts where the deadpanness can come across as flat.
Is he dead? Look at me. That guy doesn't get to decide your worth.
Hey, girls. So, what's happening here?
Yeah, you're right. All I need is you. Wait. Is that a ring?
Where perhaps some variation in tone, line delivery or pauses would help. Hui's performance as Dr. Emily, at least in the final game, come across as more monotonous in delivery, such as
"Oh my god! Someone's drowning!"
Even though the delayed reactions of everyone in such a serious situation is unintentionally or maybe intentionally comedic, there are some moments where her lines are delivered more organically, like
Long night, huh?
which makes my ears perk up because she said it in such a natural way that a Singaporean or Malaysian person would say. Unfortunately, this situation occurs for the other love interests like ex-girlfriend Victoria and sporty Chloe, who will have some good moments, but then it's overshadowed by the unfortunately larger proportion of wooden acting or delivery. This situation is made particularly clearer by comparisons of the performances of other love interests like Debbie Soon, whose usage of different facial expressions, physical gestures and tone help to express the wholesome sweetness and supportive personality of Gabby, or Korean-Australian streamer Na-hyun Kim, who injects a believable and infectiously fun performance to the flirty and playful Mia. Lily, who I feel is the dark horse among the other love interests, played by Leah Yusami, who portrays the character's shyness and gradual warming up to the protagonist in a way that feels more believable. Hong Kong influencer Baby G is also pretty decent too, with a nice mixture of being feisty but with hints of vulnerability, and really reminds me a bit of Ying Shi's portrayal as Nikita Xiao or Xiao Xiao in Knowledge or No Lady 1. I mentioned before about Lily's gradual warming up to the protagonist, and hers is arguably one of the stronger romantic arcs as you learn that Lily's shyness was made worse by her ex-boyfriend taking advantage of her trust to post nude photos of her online which damage her reputation. Her self-esteem issues feel like it comes from a realistic place, such as her feeling some self-doubt when the player protects her from an overly flirty guy who says she's not worth it. It makes the moments when Lily and the protagonist open up to each other, such as during a game of Truth or Dare, when she grows more comfortable with him, feel more real, particularly when she shows happiness at the thought of being together with the protagonist. Unfortunately for the other love interests, I would say that their romantic developments are generally superficial or the potential is not sufficiently explored, such as Mia's brothers Nathan and Leo being overly protective of her because of ex-boyfriends ghosting her before. But this isn't really fleshed out, nor does Mia say why the protagonist differs from past boyfriends in making her feel relaxed and making her laugh. Or does Sophia feel conflicted on having an open relationship with the protagonist even though her boyfriend Matt doing so deeply upset her? Sometimes these tantalizing hints come from unexpected places, like Emily is saying that because Gabby wants to please everyone, she doesn't show when she's hurting. These teasers of greater character depth are so interesting and I wanted to know or explore more, but these are largely skimmed over or not explored more, which is such a pity because it would have allowed for explorations of different types of romantic relationship phases or aspects. Island of Hearts has certainly a raunchy sense of humor with a lot of jokes or references of a sexual nature, generally without much subtlety.
Well, I've been told I have huge lungs.
I want to see how huge they are.
No, I'm a banana.
Yes, but a tasty banana.
It's all about control. You need to be gentle, but firm.
Mia, are you still talking about cucumbers?
Yeah.
It's not all sexual humor though, as the game is self-referential at times, such as during an exploration phase, the protagonist says,
What am I doing?
or Chloe referencing that it's the same actor Vincent Sin playing different roles when she wonders, whether the yoga teacher is the waiter too. The randomness of things that occur in the story also adds another layer of comedy, such as when the protagonist teaches Lily to swim by pushing her into the deep end of the pool, and it seems like it's going well and it's the right choice as you get 10 affection points. But no, she drowns and it results in a police investigation, but yay for 10 affection points? There are also other random moments, like the protagonist blurting out that he changed Lily's past right in front of her and it's just accepted without much discussion of the implications. But I can't deny that these moments of randomness and being self-referential make me laugh a lot. Being at only 4 chapters long, which is shorter than most romance FMV games, you could easily do a playthrough in about 3 to 4 hours. That being said, replaying the game is worthwhile if you wish to unlock the love interest's best endings, as having about 70% of affection points will unlock the good endings, such as Mia's brothers still not fully trusting the protagonist's romantic intentions with Mia during a date, or this bittersweet but confusing as hell ending when Gabby says any romantic feelings between the two of you was just a way to escape from her married life and re-experience the thrill of choice before relationship commitments. Adding to the confusing aspect, Gabby's 100% or best ending reveals she's a secret agent called G6, where the protagonist's choices confirm that he is an ideal covert ops partner for her, so I guess at least it's a work in progress thing for their relationship?
Gabby! G6!
Another unexpected highlight is how the Truth or Dare game with Lily will show different outcomes or scenes compared to a previous playthrough. However, replaying the game does come with drawbacks. Firstly, if you go back and play from a different choice that you have never selected before in an earlier chapter, the game locks out all your progress in the later chapters. For example, if you choose to make drinks with Emily and play out the whole scene in chapter 2, you can't access the timelines in chapters 3 and 4 even if you played it before. This is contradicted by the fact that you can skip already shown scenes, so I find this locking out feature a very bizarre decision that will potentially discourage players from replaying the game further. Secondly, inconsistencies and lack of impactful choices do become more evident during repeated playthroughs. For my second playthrough, I chose not to sleep with Sophia, but the other character's dialogue assumes the protagonist chose to do so. Adding to the irony of the situation, the protagonist can even have amnesia and select the option to spill the tea to Gabby about sleeping with Sophia even though he never slept with her. This inconsistency appears in other scenes, such as when you disappoint Mia, when you indicate you want to dance with other girls at the yacht party, and then suddenly it jumps to her saying,
Okay, I'm excited.
Talk about emotional whiplash, girl! It does expose another flaw for this game, is that some of the choices don't have lasting impact, such as how at the end of the cooking scene in chapter 2, they all result in the same outcome. There are various mini-games in Island of Hearts, such as trying to win a foot race with Chloe or ensuring you have enough oxygen to stay underwater with Mia, that have different types of inputs and goals that add a nice variety to the game. However, there is little room for error in these mini-games, as one mistake can mean you ultimately fail even though you can nail all the other inputs. This unforgiving nature is made worse for this particular minigame that shows up frequently, the one where you drag the circle along the differently shaped paths, where the explanation is very misleading, as it makes the player, or perhaps just me being a dumbo, to think that you need to click and drag your mouse along the path. But no, it's actually just holding your mouse on the icon as it moves and you don't let go until the end. God, that made me so mad at 1 AM in the morning that I actually slammed my fist on my desk, which I don't recommend to anyone, by the way. What's worse is that in chapter 3, when you're helping Gabby make a swimsuit, you can't skip this minigame and the story just completely halts until you pass this minigame. It's not just this minigame that is problematic, but also for the arm wrestling one with Mia's brother that appears to be rigged to fail, as no matter how many times I tried and pressed my mouse with the same amount of effort, the bar will suddenly drop dramatically in the last 5 to 10 seconds, which seems to unintentionally reflect the situation where some choices in this game don't have consequences. Singapore is generally a safe and efficient country, although its citizens, particularly young adults, feel the pressures of having well-paying, stable and respectful careers, while simultaneously facing questions on when are we going to settle down, have kids, and also dealing with the cost of raising a family. This efficiency has resulted in a very fast-paced lifestyle that leaves very little time for work-life balance amidst lingering influences of materialism in Singaporean society, and well, Island of Hearts doesn't tackle any of that at all. I know the game is probably meant to be a form of escapism, but I think to not integrate these Singaporean societal or cultural aspects into the love interest stories is a missed opportunity to make this game stand out in a way that could be fun, but also authentic. For example, the game's story could have explored Emily Moore, who is a doctor, one of the professions in Singaporean society where most Singaporeans will go, "Wow, good, you're a doctor, so good, you got a boyfriend or not? My son is very gentle, very nice, very good husband material one." So it would have been nice if Emily's story could have explored how her more respectful job may have led to superficial relationships or little time to find the right guy, or perhaps whether Lily's shyness affected her ability to find a decent job even though she may be a smart lady. Still, there are bits and pieces of Singaporean culture that made its way into the game. Other than the Singaporean accents from actresses Debbie Soon, Leah Usami, or the Malaysian accent, which has some similarities with the Singaporean accent from actress Pui Siu, there are some Singaporean things I recognize, such as the "don't be drama" choice with Lily, which is more of a Singlish or Singaporean English way of speaking, the presence of X brand, a well-known local medical ointment brand, a reference to Singapore's low crime rate
This island must have a crime rate of 0.
when the protagonist talks about Gabby being overly comfortable to leave her jewelry out, and the call police option, which is a reference to how some Singaporeans will threaten to call the police even though it's not the right complaint hotline. Your doctor overcharged your medical bill? Call police. Your children are not doing well in school? Call police. This part is a bit of an aside, but I thought it's a rare opportunity to react to what's present or not of Singaporean culture for a Singaporean romance FMV game. I think Island of Hearts is summarized well by the disparities of the acting capabilities of its cast members. Every good, decent or promising aspect is countered or overshadowed by a flaw, imperfection or wasted potential. Interesting romantic developments or hints are not adequately followed up upon, coupled with some of the cast members' stiff acting makes the romantic developments feel superficial at times. The game's story has its funny and sweet moments with some decent replayability factors to discover the best endings for the love interest, but the odd locking out of save progress if you pick new unexplored choices in earlier chapters and the mixed bag of acting performances would discourage players to play more, in my opinion, especially those who might feel turned off after playing a single playthrough. So I would say that you should only play Island of Hearts under the following circumstances. 1. You really like one or more of the cast members in the game and want to see their performances. 2. You are curious to see a romance FMV game made outside of the more dominant makers of the genre. If none of these two criteria speak to you and you are someone who wants a nice balance of humor, serious drama and romance like in Hello Love 18 Again or Love Is All Around, then I would say this game is not for you. I do want a romance FMV game from Singapore to succeed and also for other country developers to enter the market so that we players can have more options to play. But in all fairness, I think some more improvements in writing and acting for any potential DLCs or future Island of Hearts installment is much needed before it can get there. Thank you so much to all of you for watching. I hope my 2 cents worth of a local Singaporean perspective is helpful for you guys to decide whether to buy the game or not for yourself. Thanks again for all your support and please take care wherever you guys are at.